Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi there.
There you go.
I have I have an old laptop, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it's like hanging on there just long enough for me to finish doing what I need to do with it.
It's interesting because the way the technology has progressed, you can't do much with an old laptop anymore. Like I had to just get rid of one completely. They don't have what it takes to do the Zoom and the stuff. Yeah, so
And you can't get upgrades either. I mean,
and
in
you
2 years is about the life of one.
no, honestly, I bought my niece a Chromebook and I was using it the other day and it was like this is the last update available. I said, "Oh, well, we about to have to throw this away." And still it's only like I mean, I got it during the pandemic for her, but it wasn't the early part, so it's still not even 5 years old and
Nope, the manufacturers are tricky.
mm-mm-mm. Hi,
Anyway,
Omar.
how is
Hey,
everyone?
good, good, good to see you
Sorry I
both.
missed y'all last time. I've been really busy with a bunch of stuff, but I feel like I'm starting to get on the other side of it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's it's the same for all of us. I mean, we're trying to do so many things and, just run as fast as you can. That's all.
Without scissors.
yeah,
Commissioner Farmer, why do you look different tonight? What's different?
yeah. I had to join on my cell phone. I couldn't get
Oh,
logged in on my laptop, so sorry
Oh
about
no.
that. But
no, it's okay.
I did write up based on our conversation from last time. I did have some notes. I was hoping that we can just go through this weekend, accomplish everything that we said we wanted to accomplish before you leave on June 30th. And just to get Shawana updated, the top three priorities are to finish the strategic plan
Yeah.
by the end of this month, ideally, and then to finish the policy updates by June 30th. And there's two policies that need to be updated: the wellness policies and procedures manual, and the critical incident and peer support policy, which is one policy. It's supposed to be on Power DMS. I did find a critical incident policy, but we're not going over that stuff immediately anyway. And then the
Is
other thing that we're going to do before you leave is to present all of this work to the police commission once it's done. So either at our second meeting in June, which is like the 25th or something like that, or the first meeting in July.
So let me
So
ask
those were,
clarifying questions
mhm,
real quick. So the
yeah,
strategic plan, you said point one, that's the part Angela's leading. Combine this with that strategic plan, is what you're saying? Make sure it
no, this is
aligns
the
with it, or a totally different strategic plan.
it's a totally different OPD wellness specific strategic plan. But we
Oh
but we
wow.
do have a but we do have a wellness section in our police commission one. So probably will be intertwined either way.
Yeah. Okay.
it,
So we've seen that you sent sorry, I'm so behind on stuff. Did you
No,
send
then
us
no, it's
I
that?
okay.
and then the next thing I'm going to ask is for Barbara, if you have it tonight. I haven't seen it yet, Shawana. I was hoping that maybe we could see that tonight if you have access to it. Is that possible, Barbara? Can we see the because you
The
have like
draft.
a I know you have a draft policies and procedures manual, and they
Oh,
need the
that.
critical
Okay.
and then the critical incident and peer support policy just needs to be updated. But the strategic plan, do you have a draft?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay.
Oh
Can you
great.
Let's.
share
Okay.
your screen or
I
Shawani,
can.
Great. While you look for that, Barbara. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was which thing, Commissioner Farmer?
the first thing, strategic plan. Second thing is to update two policies. One of them is a wellness policy and procedures manual. The second one is a critical incident and peer support policy. It's one policy.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And that policy is on Power DMS. It just needs to be updated. and the
Okay.
wellness policy is a draft. So we basically just need to go over it. We wanted to add a specific reference to veterans in there, like a veteran section, and then go over and see what else we wanted to update. And then
Okay.
that's all that needs to be done with those two policies. And those are the main policies that govern wellness at OPD.
Oh, great.
Correct.
And we have
And
the
then present it all.
when we have the first one, the wellness policy.
We have B17, which is peer support and critical incidents. We actually have that one. It hasn't been updated since 2015.
Okay.
And I think they're supposed to be updated every 3 years, or they're supposed to be reviewed every
And the other
3
one is a
years.
draft that hasn't even been a formal policy yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'll follow.
Yeah. And then maybe after the meeting, Barbara, when you get a chance, if you can just email us both of those policies, the
Okay, next
draft
question.
wellness policy and procedures,
Okay.
and the B17. You say is it what the critical incident
That's
peer
peer
support policy?
support and critical incidents, right?
Okay, and then whatever you have here for the strategic plan, so we can get familiarize ourselves with those
Okay.
three things.
So I'm going to tell you this is a work in progress. It's a draft. And it's I wish I was further along with it. Here's how I work. I kind of just do I do an outline of what I want, and then I start filling the details in. And so that's what I've done. I did the outline first, and I probably should have just sent you the outline, because it would be a lot less burdensome than this is, because this is, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So I did this, and then I also did I took the goals section, and I pulled that out to put some details in, meaning what you would expect from goals. What are the goals? And there are actually 5 goals. What are the goals? What's the practical application of that goal? What's the status right now? Because some of these things, of course, are not new. They're underway. And then, I made some recommendations about what should be next. So that's an addendum to the actual strategic plan. So, and then of course our budget and all that kind of stuff, our recommended budget, those are all going to have to be either appendices or addendums or something, so that the documents, ride with the strategic plan. And as far as the overall plan the commission has, strategic plan, I don't think there is any reason that an abbreviated version of this can't appear in that document, and then the advanced version is something we produce, and it would be something that you can whoever is managing the wellness unit will have a blueprint then. So.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I am with this. So it's really important, I think, with a strategic plan to know what it is you're trying to do. So what we're trying to do with this strategic plan is to balance the operational readiness of our staff.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
really quick? Can you email it to us right now?
Let me see if I can share it with you.
And then I see that we have someone maybe from the public, Mr. Yamas Jr. Welcome to the ad hoc. Thank you for being here. And then continue, please, Barbara.
Okay. Let me see if I can share this with the two of you. First of all, you both have city emails, right?
Yes.
Yes, Oakland Police Commission.
Okay.
Oakland Commission? No, what is it?
I think, double check. I think maybe
It's Booker,
Commission.
Oh,
Booker. Omar's
I'm
came
sorry.
up.
There it is. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I was in a meeting this morning at 7:30 with someone named Butler.
That's okay.
Oh my goodness.
There goes mine right there. Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
been a long day. Okay, so I'm sharing this with you so that as I change things, you'll be able to see that. So instead
Okay.
of me actually just emailing it to you, you'll be able to see the progress of the work.
Great.
Okay.
So, and this is my style for doing strategic plans is to the first introduction is from the chief of police or whoever the administrative person is, so that it's very clear in the strategic plan that it is supported by the administration. So that's the reasoning for that. And I am also very careful to cite the whoever it is, wherever it is that I'm getting the information from. Um, so you asked me, Commissioner Farmer, about doing an introduction and background. So I did that with going back to how this whole thing started, with the collective healing initiative. And I also did a background, which is the city council. And I wasn't sure what the initial seed money was, but I think I told you 500, but it was 400,000. And then an additional 200,000 annually for ongoing funding. So that was 2015, 2017 budget. So I won't go through all of this, but this is, it'll give you, whoever reads it, the information about the background of the wellness project itself. The survey, that's another thing. If you want to include that as an addendum or an appendix, we can include the survey that we talked about last meeting.
Can you send us a copy of this survey as well?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was supposed to actually do that.
You don't have
Yeah.
to do it right this second. I just have it
Yeah.
on
I
my
have
list.
to make a note though.
There.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
That's the
I'll,
that's the survey we talked about, Shawana, before, where they got like 70% response rate.
correct. I'll send you the survey and then I'll send you what was presented to the
That's a
department too,
pretty good.
which
That's a pretty good response rate.
it's an excellent response rate. I have never, ever heard of any survey, and I think what that speaks to is people wanted they wanted to be part of that. They wanted to be heard. So, wonderful
Yeah.
thing that we got that kind of response.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Um, I would be very interested to see, given, a comparison between what the responses were then and now. And even though it's 6 years later, and a lot has changed in terms of staffing, I think it would still be a pretty good measure of, whether or not we're doing things close to,
You
what the
administered.
needs.
You administered the survey.
No, Urban Institute did. Well, I mean, they wrote the survey, they evaluated the data, they did the
Mm-hmm.
report, they made the recommendations. Of course, we sent it out to our staff. We went to staff meetings, lineups, just in general, talking to folks, telling them that was their opportunity to have a voice in what directly affects them. And I know that's partly why we got the 70% response rate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 69.9%, 70%, because we actually talked to people about it and we made it known that it was important that they told us, how they felt about what their services were right now and, what they wanted. And it really went beyond just wellness to it ask other questions, about how they felt about working for the department. And so it was a lot of really good information. Um,
Great.
So the purpose in the application then is the next section, um, what the purpose of the wellness unit is, how it's organized. The vision and mission then is next. It is, of course, what you would expect it to be, to provide increased access, promote overall participation by employees. And the idea is to develop a culture of wellness and to give them the ability to manage their own self-care. So that's, that's really the, what we're trying to do here.
And you just
Um,
wrote all this. You just wrote all this up within the past 2 weeks, right? It didn't exist
right.
before.
Right,
Okay.
but again, like I said last week, I have written so many of these things that I can go and take pieces and parts from other things I've done, and
Yeah, yeah. I do the same thing, but it's still impressive that dedication and
yeah, it
stuff that you put
definitely
into it.
is. Yeah, and then you have to, you smooth it out and make it flow, and yeah,
Hmm.
but yes, at some point in my career, I've written all of this. Yes, and as you can tell, I really like to do this. Um,
Absolutely.
so the core objectives then next, and then so the core objectives, the goals of the wellness unit, that's the other document that I'll send you, that is the expansion of that. It explains what the actual goal is, what the practical application is, the status, and the recommendations are all in that second document, which is tied to this section 2.2. So they are raise department awareness, raise administration and community support, um, provide ongoing wellness training activities, educational opportunities, support, and resources for all employees to promote a culture of physical and mental health. Evaluate and report. And Commissioner Farmer, we talked about this last week and how important this was, and that we need to collect data so that we can evaluate, whether or not our programs are working. And and of course needs change as well. So that evaluation piece, I think that is extremely important. And I also think it's something that if there's a weakness in what we're doing right now, is that we don't have the data.
Yeah, and that's also something that a grants coordinator would
Yes,
need in
sir.
order to get the grants, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. There is a direct connection there. Um, And especially if they give you a grant for a certain purpose, and then they ask you afterward, you have to do, a report afterward, and they say, okay, so what's the difference between when you did not have this service or this funding, and after? What's the difference? And they want to do that because they have people that they're responsible to as well, that they have to report to.
Right.
Um, so incorporate development, wellness, and trauma informed practices into policies, reviews, and evaluations. And that's what we just talked about earlier. And one of the things, too, reason that I wrote reviews is because I'm not sure if it is or not, but I think that, that the department should be evaluated in terms of, somehow this should show up in an employee evaluation.
Mm.
Just the question, maybe, do you feel like we meet your needs when it comes to health and wellness? It isn't a survey, but it would be two things. One, an opportunity for an employee to have a voice about that. And two, it would give us some data if we could use those answers just generically to, find out how people feel about the services they're getting.
In terms of this strategic plan, who's bought into it in OPD already?
I don't think we'd have any trouble getting anybody to. I mean, I think, my supervisor. I think, that DC Osmus has been involved with wellness and peer support and critical incidents since 2005, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she and Chief Beer were actually my mentors with this in 2013 or whatever. So I would comfortably say they both would support this.
But support the strategic plan.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Um, and again, of course, I can't speak for them, but my relationship, my experience with them is that they support mental health and wellness. Uh,
Yeah.
the person that I was sent to when I first started this, to talk to about peer support, was Chief Beer, and that was many years ago. And he kind of pointed me in the right direction, gave me some information, and how to approach this. So that's why I say I would comfortably say that they definitely support uh, health and wellness and peer support and critical incident support, and the particulars of it I can't say, but the general idea of that for staff, absolutely. Okay, key strategy. So this is as far as I got, was through the goals, but you can see with the what next has to be. Is that Commissioner Farmer? Was that? I thought I heard
You're
someone
breaking up.
talking.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
Shawana, were
okay.
you trying to say something?
Um, I think we're okay. Key strategies. Of course, mental health access, which is 24/7 confidential helplines, on-site mental health with on-site mental health professionals. We have that now. Peer support officer program with specialized training and certification. We have that now. Physical health initiatives, annual fitness assessments. We don't have annual fitness assessments as far as I know, or personalized improvement plans as far as I know. I'll have to check and see if we do. Partnerships with physical and mental health professionals, we have that exists now for staff. Um, for training and education, mandatory resilience and stress management training for all ranks and professional positions. We have the training, it is not mandatory. We do offer through Cortico and Lexipol and Police One, we do use their videos for lineups, staff meetings. We run them on our monitors in the wellness units. But it isn't, it isn't mandatory. Leadership workshops on recognizing and addressing stress and burnout, those also exist. Policy and infrastructure, wellness lead policies for recovery from high stress incidents. That I believe we may have to, we can, we have a medical unit, and I believe that's the responsibility of the medical unit, although risk management does manage the critical incident debriefs. So in terms of framework, I would have to check to see exactly how that works, if it, and what the wellness relationship is, but I do know that we have policies for that. Dedicated wellness spaces at locations, quiet rooms and fitness areas. We have quiet rooms at all 3 locations. We also have fitness areas. We have gyms at the 2 main locations, and then communications also has a fitness area. Funding, I didn't get to expand on that too much. Okay, don't start now. So implementation timeline, we can, fill that in. I was just trying to, I did this for 2 years. We can, because when I started to do it for 1 year, it was so compressed that it was very difficult to just do it for a year. But we can adjust it and do it for a year if that's what you want. And the thing about it is too, in government time, 1 year is not much time.
I was just gonna say that most initiatives, especially when you implementing something, it's gonna take probably 3 years, honestly. But
That's
you could get something started in 2 years. It's gonna take a year to just get some traction of who's gonna be the inside folks organized to drive it. Hopefully your position, there's somebody there, but yeah, I think you're
uh,
right.
yeah. So and in the past, what we've done when I've worked with strategic plans at OPD, it's always been 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's easier to cut it back if you already have it, if you already have 3 years, I think it's easier to adjust it backwards than to try to go forward
Mm.
because just the nature of human beings is you want to get the job done. So it's 2 years. Let's leave it 2 years. Let's just get. But right now, what we're trying to support is just having a plan, having a blueprint for someone to follow, because I know in 3 months I won't be here. I also know that no one's been hired for this position, and you both know, and I know, it takes a while to get someone through the process, interviewed, chosen, hired, trained.
Is it
So
posted already?
I have no idea.
Because maybe is that something me and Omar need to look into, or do we have? Is it in our lane, Omar? I mean, if it's not
Yeah,
posted,
no, they
it's no way you're gonna get anybody by the time you leave with all the bureaucracy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's on average a year it takes people to get hired and go through the pipeline and trained up. That's what I've heard. But
Well,
I believe that I heard that maybe it was posted. I want to say at a police commission meeting or something, but I'm not positive. That's definitely something we can ask about.
yeah, we
Yeah, I
should
have no
ask
Yeah.
idea.
about it.
So I
I
yeah
mean, and city council
to
was
figure
just
out what the
talking
plan is
about
when Barbara
moving.
leaves.
City council was just talking about getting people hired quicker. I don't know if you saw all of that. So hopefully we
Mm-hmm.
get throw this in the mix, because who doesn't care about the officers' well-being and mental health? Like it's a priority.
And it all trickles down. That's
Mm-hmm.
the thing that is so important. And especially, I think, and I have been associated with this since 2015. And I will tell you, I have seen changes just because people have services and they have options and someone to call, even if it's just peer support. So it trickles down to the community, and that's what we should be the most concerned about. Is how, yes,
Yeah.
officers need to be mentally and physically healthy. There needs to be
Mhm.
a culture of wellness at OPD, but then that how does that look in the community? Especially when the community knows what you're doing and you have community support. So that leads me to, well, let's evaluation and metrics. Let's go to that, because I did write that community piece into this. Evaluation and metrics, what we talked about, annual wellness survey results, um, and some of this can be tracked on Cortico, which we talked about a little bit before, which is really nice because it makes it easier. Basically, we tell Cortico what we want, and they spit out a report for us. So much easier than what we're trying to do now, because it's disjointed. So the other thing we know for a fact is that there is a reduction in sick. We know this nationwide, as a nationwide data point, that there's a reduction in sick leave and injury rates. Um, we want to evaluate if there's an increased participation in wellness programs and positive changes in morale and retention rates. That's what when we're evaluating this, that's what we want our metrics to speak to.
And
Um,
Barbara, that's just for having this program. Those reductions occur, right? The
right, we're only
increase
how it's correct, only how it's
for
related to health and wellness. Yeah.
okay, and then are there specific aspects of a wellness program that need to be in place? Like research that I had done, like before we started the ad hoc, was about from different organizations and some articles in like Police One, for example, and that the International Association of Chiefs of Police stated was that having specific aspects of a wellness program that every department should have, and then and the more you had of this stuff, the better retention there was, better higher rates of like people going up, less discipline for officers, less use of force or excessive use of force at least. So do you get into any of that like
Yeah,
aspect
that's,
of?
I actually haven't with this, but what we certainly can, once we get something, uh, something pulled together, I think that it would be a really good idea for, let me finish filling in the blanks, and then
Mhm.
I can send it to you and have you review it and do a markup on it so that we can talk
Yeah,
about changes.
yeah,
Because
and
I
it,
know the report you're talking about with IACP and the one with
yeah,
PERF too, that they
right,
go into very specific things that there's a direct correlation with reductions.
yeah. And then, so is there any way that we can? What when will we be able to leave comments on the draft, like ask
Um,
questions about or put something here? What do you think?
um,
When are you
let me
ready for
see.
that?
How much more of this? It's going to take me.
Because we
It's
might be
it's
able to
going to
help.
take me at least a week. Well, I can't do anything with it this week, honestly, because this week is a little bit crazy, and I'm at 3 different locations too, so I'm trying feverishly to get some things done that will have a sustainability impact on the program. Because if there isn't anybody sitting in this chair, then it has to be. I'm honestly relying a lot on the peer support and critical incident teams. That's why it was so important to me that they were trained, um, because that's who we're going to have to lean on. I mean, even as far as, not just necessarily the typical things that peer support does, but also, communication. And I'll give you an example. This week is Dispatch Appreciation Week nationwide, right? And so we put together gift bags for them that have, some things to, stress balls and, little a card that gives you, block breathing exercises, just some little things that will, hopefully make them feel like they're thought of and appreciated. But all that to say that what I want to do is, so there's 3 different shifts and 62 maybe dispatchers. So what I want the peer support team to do is whoever is on peer support that happens to be working on these different shifts, that they can personally take the bags to dispatch. So things like that just, otherwise it's, one person that has to get them out there, and, it just isn't, it's more like a task than a caring gesture. So that's what I mean when I say we're going to have to rely on them a lot more.
Okay, so you're saying that you can't get to back to this until next week because you're
Right.
doing all
And then,
that.
yeah, so if I can have next week to work on it, I will try my best to get this to you in a solid draft. Um, and if I leave some holes, then so be it. But I'll try to do that by the Thursday before our next meeting.
Um,
Okay.
that
Is
works
that
for
that's
me.
that's probably the best I can do, honestly.
That's fine. That work. I mean, that works for me. I have I'm going out of town this week.
I
To
hope it's for something fun.
my nephew
Okay,
is
so
getting
that's
com-
basically the Thursday of our next meeting then.
Right, a week from this Thursday. Yeah, what's the
I mean, our
date?
police commission meeting, Shuara.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
whatever you can do. I mean, that works for me too.
Okay. And even Monday, I mean, I know it's a lot. And if you take a look at it, make some comments, again, it's not the last draft or whatever. We can always, this is kind of where we're starting. So,
it makes sense, and you want to give, and then maybe in this, and I don't know if it'll be too much of a lift for you, but since we're thinking about like some succession plan. Unless you have it in a different document, you could put like little notes of the history of stuff you've already accomplished or done or historically that's kind of met this need
Oh, okay.
that may not exist anymore. So it's just like you're not just pulling this out of anywhere, like these are things you talked about or had done or stuff like that. That might be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, I have all the work plans from, well, when I was directly involved with this. I don't have them I have for peer support and critical incidents, but I have
Yeah.
all the work plans through 2023.
Oh, cool.
So,
And that's just be separate then. It doesn't have to be in this.
yeah, that I can do that though. That wouldn't be too difficult to do.
Okay,
Um,
so
Omar, is a guest still in here with us or no?
no, I think they dropped off a while ago, like right after I introduced them. It looked like they dropped off.
Maybe
Um,
they thought it was the NSA meeting.
yeah, I don't know. So okay, so you said you
so
can
let
have us a fleshed out draft by April 23rd, which is the Thursday
23rd.
before our next meeting, and
Yep.
then we
Yes.
can start to comment on it then, or we can send comments between now and then. Either way.
Yeah.
And then on our meeting on Monday, April 27th, then we can try to finalize the draft. And if we don't finalize it at that meeting, we can aim to finalize it sometime before the end of that week. And that Friday of that week is May 1st. Is that reasonable?
Uh, it sounds reasonable right now. We
Yeah.
shall see.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'll start to look over it and send any comments or questions I have now. Maybe you're already going to be
Okay.
planning on doing some of this stuff. If you want to, yeah, and if you want to incorporate any, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But I'm ready to start looking at it and providing feedback as soon as possible. But I realize that you're pressed for time this week, so it's understandable. Just one person trying to do this whole thing, so.
Yeah. Luckily, there's something to pull from. But so one of the things that I do want to make sure that we have as part of this plan is to talk about funding. I think that is, that should be written into the sustainability plan, and I think that is really important because as I mentioned before, to the best of my knowledge, we, for the first time, do not have any grants. So I think
And you're
it's
and you're not
that
going to have
question.
any grants for
I'm
the next
sorry.
year. And you're not going to have any grants for the next year because it's grant season now, right?
Correct. Absolutely right. And of course, there are other funders. There are organizations and foundations and all of that. But right now, my focus right now in terms of funding is on getting our peer support training paid for. That is my priority right now.
I think one thing that we can help with as a commission is if we get back to making our recommendations for the annual budget, to the mayor's budget, Shawana, like this is something that we can put in there. We can request for money for their peer support. Do you have a number how much that's going to cost?
$10,000, $9,987.
Okay. And
You
then
said requested from where?
how we were working on our recommendations for the mayor's budget.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just was looking at that in my email today.
Yeah, so that exactly. So that's something that we can request be included in the budget as a
Mm.
line item. Peer support training for OPD, $9,987. And then
But
we can
that,
what
and
was that?
so when would that money be available?
I don't know. We
July?
would we would yeah, because we would be making our recommendations for the I don't even know if we're gonna get back to making these requests, but it's
Yeah,
something that we were going to discuss. And
yeah,
if we are going to make the request, like you said, it would be the next fiscal year, it'd be July.
yeah. I know that Deputy Chief Osmus, I gave her a projected budget proposal. And I'm not sure how that filters down with the police commission, but I know it was presented to the police commission. So,
Yeah, I'm not
so
sure. Yeah, I don't know. And we just will
anyway,
be making our letters purely recommendations. Recommend, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I would think that the more people were recommending it, um,
absolutely.
higher chance of it happening.
Absolutely. Oh, I totally agree. And especially because now you have firsthand information about I mean, it's pretty obvious the importance of peer support and critical incident teams, but but in terms of sustainability, they become even more important because we don't have right now any permanent staff here. And we don't have one person is not enough to do this job if you want it done correctly. I
Yeah. So then
mean,
yep. And then that's the next thing I want to ask you about is another thing we talked about last meeting is having a full-time grants coordinator position, right? So that someone can build the relationships, apply for the grants, provide the data, and then hopefully get ongoing grants so they can prove that they're making a difference, right? Rather than just
correct.
applying for the stuff and then no one's in the role, and then whoever's offering the grants is like, well, why would we give them money again because there's not even anyone there to follow through, right?
Right.
So maybe that's something. I don't know if that's something we can, because we're also writing some recommendations for changes to the OPOA MOU. I don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
that might be something that we can request to have negotiated as a permanent FTE position. Um, if not there, then we can request for it to be created within, as a budget proposal, because or else you're never going to get any grants. We're not going to get any grants this year already. We're not going to get any grants next year already, and then you're going to be gone. We don't know if there's a succession plan or not, and once that person gets in, who knows if that person's going to get in at the end of the year, a year from now, or what? Then they're going to have to apply for grants. There's not going to be any grant money there. So you're either going to have to rely on city council to find the money, um, or not have any money.
Or not have any money. That's the scariest alternative is
Yeah,
the
and that
funding
could be,
just isn't there. Yeah.
yeah, for years, multiple years potentially. So
Right. And then of course, even once the grant period opens, because you have another one in the fall, even once the grant, which, you can look for, pass-through money, there's from the state, there's still no guarantee. And one of the things that is a little concerning with the DOJ grants and BJA and, victims grants and all of that is they're federal grants and Oakland's a sanctuary city. And it's no secret that
oh right.
California is
I
not.
was just thinking that. I was
Mm,
like, the sanctuary cities is not. He already said that.
yeah,
Yeah.
what does that mean for us? We've had extremely good results with federal grants in the past. And, you know, Barbara Lee's in Oakland now. She's not in Washington anymore. So, I mean, real talk we have to consider the politics of it when we're talking about funding and grants.
Yeah, but at a minimum, you can get the private grants like the Gary Sinise grant or whatever
Right,
the case may be, right? And then
right.
you were also saying in terms of staffing, a grants coordinator position, you would recommend that position to be a $200,000 annual salary. Is that right?
I think it's 180 plus another 85. Don't quote me, but I think for benefits.
Okay. Where do we find out the number exactly?
I can find out. I can get it for you.
Okay.
I'm sure I already have it somewhere.
And then how much for the wellness coordinator and administrative support FTE positions? How much are those annually?
So
Do you recommend?
the two together, it's a range.
You can
So
stop sharing your screen if you want to. If you don't want. this part to be on the recording, your folders and
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Um,
You can get back to me on it. You don't know off the top of your head. It's, it doesn't
yeah,
have to be.
yeah, I'll have to do that.
I just would like to request it at least either um in our opioid MOU recommendations or the annual recommendations to the mayor for the budget. So,
Okay.
or we can. I don't know if everyone is going to agree with that, but I at least want to discuss it.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to understand when you're in the room when the conversation's being had, that's for sure.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so the strategic plan, we can start commenting on it, and then we'll go over it again uh, at our next meeting. You'll get the draft to us, a more fleshed out draft by the Thursday before, right? And then we're going to try to
Correct.
finish it by that following Friday, May 1st, ideally. And then after that, we can start to review the wellness policies and procedures draft. If you can also send that to us in the interim, that would be helpful. At least I know it would be helpful for me.
Okay.
And then the critical peer support policy that just needs to be updated. If you can send that and say what you wanted to be updated, that might help. The learning curve for us on that policy, the B17 policy on Power
Okay.
DMS. I'll check that out too. So
Yeah, I would
yeah,
love
if,
to
if
look
you can
at
say
that
what you would like
policy.
those policies to include, yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
what's the
that's,
wellness policy and procedures manual that draft? What's it called?
um, I believe that's, the wellness policy is not in
No, I know it's not in Power DMS. I just was
Power
curious
DMS,
what it was
right, thank
called.
you. I think it's just right now, because it is a draft and it's not even in the proper format, I think it's just called, OPD, Health and Wellness Policy.
Mm.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. And you can also send us the copy of the survey that Urban Institute,
Oh,
and we
right,
can really
okay.
do our homework on what's been done. Is there any way that we can download the Cortico app so we can take a look at it?
Let me contact them and find out. I don't know why not. I mean, I think that'd be extremely helpful for us if you could see, what the, and I will tell you this too, the app, one of the things that we have on the list of things to do is to update that Cortico app. And I say that because there's information on there that isn't accurate. And there's also information that is, there are people that were peer support that are gone now. We have these new peer support folks, which we can't actually put them on yet because they're not trained, but we could load their information and then activate it when they are trained. But when you do look at it, keep that in mind that there are some things on there that are not accurate. Um,
Okay. Are we
but
gonna make that as like maybe not get that done by June 30th, but maybe put that in the strategic plan to update the Cortico app?
yes, absolutely. It's not mentioned on here anywhere. Okay.
So if you don't get this grant or this money, because you had said not last meeting because I missed, but the one before that you already had what about 30 people or something ready for the peer support
Correct.
training?
Right.
Will you
Yeah,
still be
30 or
able to?
40.
Well, we have 29 people right now that need the training.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's a little bit confusing because we have 20 new recruits that haven't been trained at all. And then we have another 9 people, maybe 10, who are trained in critical incidents, but not peer support. So, and there is a difference.
Oh, okay.
The peer support's internal, critical incident is everything. I mean, external, mostly community stuff, all of that. So that's where the 29 people comes from. That's how we have that number. Now, once these folks are trained, there'll be 52 total peer support and critical incident team members.
And you
Some are
can, is
both.
there a way to move through the training without the grant or no? Sorry, I don't know why it's a delay. My thing is glitching.
Yeah, me too.
Well, here's the thing. We thought we had it all set up, but because there are some changes being made with contracts right now, the company that we're using for the training, we've used them before, but now we have to go through PSA and all of the, paperwork and processes and approvals and all of that are necessary for a PSA. So the last time I did that was last spring, and it took 6 months. So I say that to say that these folks won't be able to, they won't be able to practice for 6 months. And the other thing is we connect them with a mentor. So it's not just like, okay, you're trained, now just go do it.
Right, of course.
So it's a process. And my main concern with waiting is you lose your momentum. And so people are, sworn in as peer support members or critical incident members, and then they hear nothing. Nothing happens for 6 months. I would kind of lose a little bit of faith in the program itself. We have to keep the momentum going for this to work. Does that make sense?
That makes total
Yeah.
sense. I mean,
And that money.
sorry, it's all
No,
glitching.
go.
That makes
It's a
total
delay.
sense because when you first train somebody up in something, you want them to start it immediately, or else they get fearful and don't feel confident to use it in the future. So it's best to
That's
do
a
it
good
all
point.
close. Yeah.
Okay, and I just
Commissioner
want
Farmer?
to, can we go over the numbers again really quick? So, peer support. So you have 30 people or 29 people that are trained in peer support, and then you have 10 more that are trained in peer support and critical incidents, right?
Okay, so let me break it down like this. We have 20 people who are through the approval process, but are not trained in basic. So we start with basic. We do basic and advanced. We start with basic. So 20
And
people
that,
who
wait a
are,
minute, Those 20 people, is that for basic uh, training and peer support and critical incidents?
no, just basic. 20
Just
people for basic. Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't clear about that. And then we have 9 who are trained in critical incidents but need basic training. So that's where the participants come from.
And what's the $9,987 for? That's for basic
That's for
training?
basic 3-day basic training, in-person basic training, right? From the counseling team international.
Okay. And you don't have money for it right now.
No, well, that's kind of a tricky question because I believe we have the funds in the wellness budget, or we could, but the problem is we have to get whoever the company is that comes in and does the training, we have to get them through that contractual process because they're going to have a professional services agreement this is my understanding,
You
to
don't
be
have a
able.
contract with anyone yet. You don't have a contract with anyone yet. And that could take what, 6 months or so?
My experience was last time I did this, it took 6 months.
Yeah, and it may have to go out to bid. I mean,
Right. If they
unless you're
want an
going to
RFP. Correct.
Yeah, unless you're going to request for to waive the competitive bidding process for Counseling Training International. Nothing's been approved with them yet. That's just one company that's been identified, right?
Correct. I checked
So,
with other companies, and I'll give you an example. The highest one was $35,000 to do the same training. $35,000. Now, what we could do is
so it's trained. So, so this is
we could
the
send
lowest
people
one.
out for the training somewhere else. But can you imagine what that would cost? Think about it. Three days, which means it
It
would
could
be
cost
overnight
anywhere.
stays. Yeah, so $9,000 is a really really reasonable cost for having this training.
So you have it from them where it could cost $9,987, but potentially costs as much as 35,000 if this has to go out to bid, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I
So
don't know. So the peer support training isn't happening, right? It's not happening.
no, it isn't. We had it scheduled, but we had to postpone it. Yeah, because I did it. Yes, exactly. I invited you and Commissioner Booker to the training from the 15th through the 17th. So
But you
don't
had
come.
but there was
You
no.
said so. Don't come.
Don't
You're not
come.
having it.
Yeah, I invited you to stop in and just to, meet the folks that are, our peer support team,
Yeah.
and see who the trainers were, and, that kind of thing. You were welcome to stay for the whole thing if you wanted, but yeah.
But how did it get scheduled if you guys had no contract with anybody?
Well, I scheduled it because it was a company we had used before. And then fiscal said, our office, the city office said, you can't do that anymore. You have to take them through the process. So
Because their
that's,
contract was out of date.
well, I guess, yeah. I didn't ask for explanations. I just said, what do I need to do to make this happen?
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So the money may or may not still be there when
Correct.
it's.
But here's the thing too. You of course that money is there until June 30th. If it takes 6 months to get PSA approved or get through a contractual process, the money won't be there anyway.
But
So it
aren't you
really
guys
is a
gonna?
catch. It's a very complex situation, which is why my first thought was, let's go find a funder who will, pay for the training.
But aren't you all going to request for a wellness budget for the next fiscal year?
Well, yes,
And isn't that going to be included in that budget request?
yes, but again, what happens with that budget is are we going to have the money available to us any sooner than if I went through this process for a PSA? Think
What?
about it.
What?
I mean, no, we won't. So we still have the same problem, which is folks won't be trained for at least 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, that's going to happen if you have to go through this
Either
RFP
way,
process. That you're going to lose your momentum no matter what. There's no,
right?
you know, not,
And
how,
again, this
how
group
much?
is. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
How much are you guys requesting for next year for the wellness budget?
I have to look to see. I
Or
don't
who does
remember what
that?
it was.
Who writes up that request?
I was just
Well,
gonna
I wrote the
ask that.
proposal.
It's what?
She wrote it.
Oh, you
I
okay?
wrote the proposal, but honestly, so
Can
many
you also
things have.
send a copy of that?
Yes, I can.
All right,
Yes,
that's
you
all I
can.
got, Juana.
Yeah, so we'll look at, so our to-dos are to look at, Barbara, you'll send us the draft one, and then the other policy, what is it,
Yes.
15, and then we'll look at those. We'll look at this, but you'll add more to it by in a couple of Thursdays, and we'll have comments. And then in the meantime, Omar, we'll see if we can add to the our budget kind of requests some money for wellness training.
Yeah, after we see a copy of the wellness budget, we can make an informed decision on what to ask, if anything.
Yeah.
Because if they're already asking for it, I mean, if we're making recommendations, we can just back up what they're asking for, basically.
Yeah, we could just support it.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea, right?
So, and then I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to speed up getting the money for this peer support training. We could, I mean, I guess since we're able to make an informed decision on what the bids are, as high as 35, as low as 10, that upwards of 10,000, basically. We can also maybe write in our recommendation a recommendation to waive the competitive bidding process, since Barbara's already done the homework and we've talked to her extensively about it. That might be something else we want to include in our recommendation to help speed up the process so these people can get their training going, or else they might lose people because it's all volunteer. They get paid
Exactly.
no overtime or nothing for it.
Exactly. And we don't know what the situation is with the position here. So that again, I mean, the peer support and critical incident teams are extremely critical to the health and well-being of staff, clearly, because it's kind of those folks, and then our professional mental health people are those are the people they reach out to. So yeah, that's
And the biggest problem that you said from day one since we started meeting was that you guys constantly are able to come up with recommendations and best practices to implement, but you always have to go back to square one because it gets delayed for whatever
yes,
reason. And this
yes.
is an example of that.
Yes. And two, the new folks that are coming in and those 30 people that will be in that class are these folks all talk to each other. And so for us to recruit 20 people in 3 months and have them all vetted and recommended and approved is a feat in itself. 3 months. And so they're folks from all walks of life, from ceasefire, from patrol, from the homicide. So there it's a really diverse group. And to lose that and have those folks lose confidence in the peer support and critical incident teams, that will do more damage than we want, really. I mean, that will be extremely damaging.
I bet just by having this training done, you could prevent losing at least a couple of officers over this same period, since we already have this 5 to 6 officer attrition rate per month. That just by having this in place and then people seeing how they're valued, that you prevent losing officers. So, that's another, bottom line for the
I
city
have to
is
agree.
why to get this done now.
I have to agree totally. Commissioner Farmer, you make some really good points, and I have to say I mean, my heart is in this work, and I really appreciate the two of you taking the time and having these conversations. I mean, I think this is really important.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I'm happy. And I'm happy. I'm thankful you're here too. So
Yeah.
as much as we could do. Okay, well, good
So
night. Sorry I'm off camera. It keeps
that's
glitching,
okay.
so it's just easier for me.
So you two know where I am. You know how to reach out to me, how to get in touch with me. Please just do. If you need to have any questions, something we didn't cover, something I didn't send you, just reach out to me, and I'll be happy to take care of it.
Okay. I'll
Have,
send
have
her my email for everything that we requested for.
Yeah.
great. Thank you,
Ha-
Omar.
have a good week.
Have a good week,
Okay.
guys. Okay,
Thanks. Bye bye.
All right. Have a good
bye.
night. See ya.